Hello grapplers and welcome to a new Zangief video. Today we're gonna talk about this guy, Mr. Guile. Strengths. The first one is the most obvious one. Guile can zone. You can go for the regular sonic booms or the perfect ones. Think of the sonic booms as more than a fireball. It's more like Guile's poke. And you'll see what I mean once we look at his weaknesses. Using strong zoning is one of his best and most obvious tools against the whole cast. He needs to zone a lot in this game, and he's very good at it. He's also a very simple character in terms of moves, combos. I mean, he has difficult combos, but at the end of the day, you don't have to go for those. Rarely a Guile player will go for the sonic boom loops in the corner because that introduces a level of complexity and he can drop the combo and die. So most Guile players just go for the usuals. They don't try to go for anything that fancy, just a simple combos. Something very simple, easy, and effective. And he deals a lot of damage with those combos. Corner pressure is really freaking annoying because he can set up Sonic Blade. And this is so good with Guile. He can be here all day. If you block it, it's heal plus. So it's really difficult to escape the corner. He can also use this and bait you, and you end up being grabbed, punish counter. His anti-air game is also pretty decent. He has obviously the flash kicks. He also has standing medium kick and crouching heavy punch. Now these two tend to whiff in some situations, but flash kick, if you jump from this range, for example, flash kick is 100% guaranteed and he will wait for you to jump at him. In fact, one of his best tools is basically the combination of everything I said. He breaks players, especially impatient players, very easily because he's gonna be waiting, backdashing sometimes. Throw sonic boom, he expects you to jump. He's gonna wait, crouching, ready for that flash kick in your face. So he's a very annoying character, especially for people that are not used to these kind of matchups. Guile jumps back a lot, Null throws jumps too. You need to catch him a lot of the time. Some people call it lame, but it's the way Guile has to play, especially in this game, because this is no longer Street Fighter V Guile. He also has weaknesses. So what are his weaknesses? The first one and the most obvious one that kinda connects to what I said about sonic booms, he doesn't have the best poking in the game. His poking is really strange. Usually he's short in terms of distance, with the exception of a few things like upside down kick or crouching medium kick. But most of the time he's really short in terms of range. Like, he doesn't have the range to actually do something with his poking. He doesn't have the best drive rush cancel moves, so he's usually just poking and getting away. That is a big weakness, because in this game, everyone wants to combo and throw you to the corner. Well, he's not one of those characters. He has to poke very carefully. Also very weak to drive impacts. With a few exceptions like OD, Sonic Boom. If you try to drive impact this, probably he will drive impact back. But in general, Bazooka Knee, Sobat, Upside Down Kick, Crouching Medium Kick, Sweep, even some other buttons, Standing Medium Kick even, all of those are really weak to drive impact. And the regular sonic booms too. So he cannot go just throwing buttons. He needs to know how to zone in this game and how to poke and be very aware of what the opponent is doing. So a Guile that just throws sonic booms very likely will eat a drive impact. Same with as other Guiles that like to drive rush forwards a lot of the time. That will also happen. So Guile has to mix his options, and his options are limited. So most of the time he's gonna throw sonic booms, sometimes follow with a drive rush, or try to poke you with crouching medium kick. This is the go-to for almost everything with Guile. A really good button spaces itself, so it's very decent to try to catch people when they try to whiff punish or punish this on block. Very good button, and probably his best button overall for poking. He's also drive dependent. He's probably one of the most drive dependent characters in the game. He, at some point during the match, he needs to stop doing the regular sonic boom because you're gonna be too close to him. At the end of the day, he's gonna throw an OD sonic boom just to throw you away, just to hit you and recover his spacing. This also happens with the flash kick, which is his best wake up reversal. If you've seen Guile videos, you'll notice that most of the time he's gonna be in burnout, and this is pretty common. because he needs to do this. Because what else he can do? Against a really good character, he cannot be throwing Sonic Blade out of the blue. He needs to set up the Sonic Blade, because this is punishable if he goes for Sonic Blade all the time. So he needs to start creating a space with either this or the OD Sonic Boom. So very likely he's gonna be at some point during the match with only 2 bars of drive. It's a charged character that introduces a few extra weaknesses. For example, the Super 1 and Super 3 are charge attacks. That means he has to charge back, forward, back, forward. That means basically that he cannot react to certain situations as easily as other characters with Super 1, especially when he's in burnout. Most Guile players are really aware of that weakness, so they try to either jump or backdash, so they don't risk it with something that people can block, like Super 1. When he's in burnout, he struggles, and struggles hard. Again, same relation to Supers. When he walks forwards, he loses Sonic Boom and Flash Kick. How to deal with the Flash Kick, the anti-airs? The relation between Sonic Booms and Flash Kick is very important for Guile. He needs to know when to throw either one or the other. He can bait you with Sonic Blade. Maybe throw a Sonic Blade, make you jump, and react with a Flash Kick. He has to rely on, again, on Flash Kick, or the Flash Kick even, because the regular ones are not good for waking up with. How is he trying to zone you? Is he walking forwards after the Sonic Boom? Is he walking back? Is he even throwing Sonic Booms at all? You need to read the situation and carefully assess. If you're gonna jump at Guile, use jumping medium kick. You can use the slightly charged version of your heavy punch. Don't abuse it, but it's gonna save you in this matchup because the armor starts at frame 4. This is pretty common. Just be careful because he can abuse crouching medium kick, and that will beat your standing heavy punch. And almost everything he can throw at you, you can answer with standing heavy punch. And since he's very short in terms of range with his buttons, this is one of those matchups where you can abuse standing medium punch, sweep, standing medium kick, crouching medium kick, or your long pokes. The sweep and the reverse kick, the upside down kick, both of them can be punished with SPD. So if you manage to block either one of those two and you're close enough, the upside down kick is -8, and the sweep obviously you can punish with SPD. Be ready, those two options are really good damage. And
Hi, I'm Kepler from the future, or the past. Something that I might not explain properly is how careful you have to be with Sonic Booms and Guile's anti-airs. You have to be very ready when Guile follow-ups his Sonic Boom, especially if he goes for this one. This is dangerous. You have to take a guess. Defense, it's not easy with Zangief. You can poke sometimes, SPD. Technically you can use SPD. Very carefully, because the distance of SPD is very good when someone is over here. Obviously, the Guile player can bait that. But it is pretty important in this matchup to know when to jump. Guile has a significant amount of anti-airs. I think I saw Snake yesterday play against a Guile a few times, and he was anti-airing with Sobat. The character has good anti-airs. You can trade with them if you use really well-spaced jumping medium kicks. There's that, you can trade with that. Sometimes you will lose to them. You have to be careful. You want to jump as a prediction to a Sonic Boom, and that is not easy. It's pretty common for this matchup to be Sonic Boom heavy, Sonic Boom. After Sonic Boom you have to walk, block, walk, parry, etc, etc. So it's not easy. The idea here is that you have to try to get in as soon as possible and don't let Guile create space. So if you have the opportunity to walk forwards, do it. Be very wary of how he's throwing his Sonic Booms. So you can neutral jump, forward jump, or even jump and do burst to bait a possible flash kick. You have to mix your options because this matchup depends a lot on how you deal with the Sonic Boom. You do have sometimes to just jump, Hail Mary jump, to see if you can catch something, but usually Guile players, especially if they are good with their zoning, they're gonna be waiting with a possible flash kick. So be careful, don't just jump out of nowhere in the middle of the match. Analyze what happened. It is still a Hail Mary jump, but at least you know somewhat how the Guile is playing the matchup. You can SPD very carefully. If the Sonic Boom is not touching you and he immediately goes after the Sonic Boom, sometimes you can flash, SPD. Otherwise, you have to take the mix-up after the Sonic Boom, either blocking or parrying, and then guessing the follow-up situation. It's hard. It's not easy, but you do have to do it because it's part of the matchup. You can use OD Lares sometimes, but it is a risk, and you have to recognize that there are gonna be risks in this matchup.
Some Guile players love to abuse Sonic Blade. I'm gonna tell you right away, even the light version of Sonic Blade, like that one, if you space yourself correctly, you can punish with sweep. It's not really that hard, to be honest. Zangief's sweep is very decent in terms of range. Sometimes he uses the heavy version. You can still punish it during the startup frames and a little bit of the recovery frames. Standing light kick into dry rush, crouching medium punch has a gap. So in this case, specifically against Guile or people that love to DP during your dry rush, you have to use lights into crouching light kick. For example, this one. That has no gap. So the Guile player cannot go for the OD flash kick right away. This is very useful for you because you can create a situation where he will be scared because he's gonna be so used to using OD flash kick. At some point, you're gonna throw off their timing. If you use your lights, standing light kick, standing light punch, crouching light punch, and you go from the drive rush into drive impact, you will eat the 2 hits of the OD flash kick. And this happens with every light. And you have enough time to punish with SPD. Technically, you can use just a light into it, and this will create the same effect, but it's very common for Guile players to be very scared when you have your knockdown and you have your plus frames. So it's more likely that you will use a drive rush into a light rather than anything else, but you can bait the flash kick like that. When do I DI? When do I perfect parry? Should I block? Again, this all depends on what Guile is doing. This is a very reactive matchup for Zangief. He has to wait and see how Guile establishes the fight. One thing I can say is that you don't have to block all the time. You don't have to try to go for DI all the time. And obviously you don't have to parry. Be ready with DI, but don't abuse it. You can certainly use it against a lot of moves. Again, almost everything he has can be DI'd. Every command normal most of the time can be DI'd. You will use OD Sonic Boom at some point. So you need to read the situation, assess the situation. In my opinion, if you're over here, parrying is a good option. Once you start getting closer, blocking is better. You have to mix up your standing heavy punch, your DI, the rest of your pokes, and your parry and blocking. Mix your options. Keep Guile guessing, because he doesn't want to guess. Because his best option is OD flash kick. When he reaches that point, that boiling point for him, he has to use OD flash kick to produce a distance between Zangief and Guile. Since Guile is so dependent on drive, you might want to focus your damage on the drive gauge, not necessarily the health gauge. What do I mean by that? If you can abuse your headbutts, go for it. Abuse this. Break that drive gauge. If you go for Super 2, for example, maybe go for that option instead of going for the Ender, so you can, again, take more drive. That is a lot of meter. Every time you perfect parry, SPD, you take 1 bar of drive. Everything that deals drive damage hurts Guile the most. If Guile uses, especially medium punch, into a perfect Sonic Boom, there's nothing you can do. There's no gap. But if he uses lights or regular Sonic Booms instead of perfect ones, you can use OD Lariat for those fake pressures. Especially if it's not a perfect Sonic Boom, has a large gap. Large enough for you to use the OD Lariat, because OD Lariat has invincibility to fireballs from frame 1. If he's using the perfect Sonic Boom from medium punches, there's nothing you can do. Or some of his heavies that can be cancelled into Sonic Boom. And the Sonic Boom again is a perfect Sonic Boom. There's nothing you can do, but the regular ones, you can OD Lariat or Super 2. And before I forget, Super 2 in this matchup is your best friend. You can whiff punish buttons, you can whiff punish Sonic Booms, Sonic Blades. The idea is to do it over here maximum, because here it's a little iffy. The range sometimes catches certain situations, sometimes it doesn't. So you want to be a little closer, let's say over here. If the Guile player is throwing Sonic Booms at this range, he's asking for you to use Super 2, so just go for it. There's really not a good answer for this situation. You can parry or perfect parry. Ideally, you want to perfect parry. From here, he can grab you, he can walk back and wait. You go for the overhead, he can drive rush and try to go for something crazy, he can neutral jump. The amount of options he has after that Sonic Blade are crazy. One thing you do have to do 100% of the time is block or parry that Sonic Blade. From there, it's a 50-50. I recommend just wait. At least the first time, wait and see what Guile wants to do. Again, a very reactive matchup. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but this is a very reactive matchup. You do have to wait for Guile to make his first move and then react accordingly. You can start taking the lead in this matchup once you start creating knockdowns, you start doing damage, you start whiff punishing. The first 10 seconds of this match determines how likely is it for you to go for an OD Lariat, maybe drive rush, because it all depends on what is the kind of Guile you're playing. One thing that is universal for all Guile players, that they're gonna follow up with a Sonic Boom or the Sonic Blade Sonic Boom drive rush. Also very common for them, even the best Guile in the world, they're gonna end up in burnout. It's just the nature of the character. So you want to push that. You want to push that burnout as soon as possible, so you can start mixing up your plus frames with SPD and create damage, knockdowns. And again, since he's a charge character, you can sort of guess when he tries to go, or when he's charging something, right? It's a very, very simple matchup, hard to implement. And let me tell you, this is something you also need to know. The Guile player is as scared of Zangief as the Zangief player is scared of Guile. So it's a very strange situation. If you let that fear consume you, this matchup is gonna be horrible. So you need to believe in yourself, and you need to start pushing that fear towards Guile, towards the Guile player. And the way you do that is by doing damage to the dry gauge and by using your plus frames and whiff punishing. Because Guile players hate to be whiff punished. Well, no one does, but they hate it way more because they're a little short in terms of poking. With the exception of crouching medium kick. I know crouching medium kick is really good, but that is the go-to for everything. And don't fall for the anxiety of trying to get in. This is a very slow matchup. It's gonna take time. Very likely either one of these two guys is going to win when the clock reaches 40 seconds. So at least the first seconds of the match, the first 10 to 15 seconds are gonna be just poking and blocking. Unless the Guile or the Zangief players are really loco and they try to dash in all the time, which is dangerous in this matchup because they do have options against the others. It's a very simple matchup, but you do have to explore it. You do have to play against Guile a lot in order to understand what you can do against certain players. It's Guile. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Remember that I stream on twitch.tv/Kirupu with 2Ps. If you have some extra information you want to leave, just please leave a comment here. We can discuss the Guile matchup. And I have a few videos prepared, but they're mostly ideas or things I want to say to the world. But this probably is going to be the last one of 2023. So don't worry, guys. I have your suggestions. I'm trying to go one by one with the most important, the one that I think is the most important, and then I follow up with the other ones. Thank you for being here. Take care, keep playing grapplers, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.